In this video, I show how I removed the bumper from a Renault Logan to decide whether to install a protective mesh or not. As a result, having seen what happened to the radiator, I came to the conclusion that a protective mesh is necessary. There are many disputes on the internet about whether a mesh is needed on the radiator or not. Someone says that it disrupts air circulation and this leads to an increase in engine oil temperature, etc. Others say that standard protection is provided and it should work. To remove the bumper in my car, you need to unscrew the bolts at the top and bottom of the bumper and also disconnect the latches on the sides. You can watch my previous video on replacing antifreeze for more details on removing the bumper from such cars. Link in the description. The bumper is easily removed, and you can check the condition of the radiator. The upper part is still more or less in normal condition, but the lower part is all stoned. So whoever is not a supporter of installing mesh, you can leave the upper part of the radiator unprotected, but the lower one 100% needs protection. First, I cleaned the radiator from dust and debris with a brush and tried to straighten the bent honeycombs with a screwdriver. It turns out that Wildberries even has special devices for this. See the link in the description. By the way, here you can check the clamp that I installed when replacing the antifreeze instead of the standard one. It seems to be okay. I ordered the radiator mesh on Wildberries. This mesh with a 16mm cell is considered large. The mesh size is 1 meter by 25 centimeters. It says that the material is aluminum. On the site, its ratings are 4.9 points. It is packaged very well and securely. It bends easily. I ordered 2 pieces. One will go up, the second down. Link in the description. To work. In order not to scratch the bumper, you need to put something soft under it. To make it easier to install the lower grille, I decided to take it out of the bumper. To do this, I unscrewed the screws, which can be unscrewed, but there are still a couple of rivets. They had to be drilled out. Then, these places can be taken again on rivets or screwed with bolts. The grille itself is attached with latches. We bend them with a screwdriver. After that, you can easily get the lower grille. I try on the grille and attach it to plastic clamps. They are not visible from below, and the fastening will be unnoticeable. I cut the grille itself with side cutters. Ideally, of course, it was necessary to have metal scissors. At first, I suffered greatly due to their absence. However, later I managed with the help of improvised means. At first, I suffered with the help of side cutters, but this option is very inconvenient. Then I decided to use a hacksaw for metal, which is also not very good, since the hacksaw quickly gets clogged. As a result, I came to the conclusion that the mesh is cut very well with a sharp knife. And here's another plus, that it bends immediately onto the bumper. I bend the sharp edges and install the grille back. I fasten it with latches and screws. All the rivets that I unscrewed, I will put on bolts a little later. There's a short pause here so that you can subscribe to my channel. The lower part is ready. Now you can do the upper one. Here the installation is less convenient. I had to suffer. The principle is the same. I unscrew what unscrews. I had to drill out one rivet. The upper part will be fastened with screws. Beforehand, I decided to mark the attachment points with chalk so that it was clearly visible where to screw the screw. I used the smallest screws and put a washer from roofing screws with a rubber gasket on them. When installing, you need to be very careful and screw the screws into those places so as not to damage the front surface of the bumper. So I decided to mark them right away to make it easier to cut out the mesh.
Так. Вот сюда. Вот сюда можно вывести. И вот эти, да. Так, и вот сюда тоже можно тоже. Да. И штуки, да, вот сюда.
I first cut out a template from cardboard. The link to the template is in the description.
Что вот такой шаблон получился. Наверх вставляется, это туда вставляется. И вот здесь будет крепиться, здесь крепится, тут двумя болтами. Здесь одним болтом, здесь сбоку, здесь двумя. Так, и вот здесь вот.
When drilling out the rivet, it began to spin and the fastening hole melted due to the high temperature. Therefore, when fastening, we will have to use washers.
Это шаблон на левую сторону, если смотреть изнутри. Вот так вот. Если смотреть, это будет вот так вот ложиться. Так. Правосторонний будет вот так вот. С этой стороны.
Now, I cut out the mesh according to the template. At first, I tried to use a knife, but it's not very convenient to cut. So I took simple scissors, quite old. It turned out that they cut aluminum perfectly.
Если есть ненужные ножницы. Так, левая сторона.
Now I bend the grille and install it on the bumper. Be careful not to bend it too much, as it is very flexible. In principle, it is very easy to straighten it. At first, before tightening the screws, I drilled a hole, but later I abandoned this. The screws screw well into the plastic without pre-drilling. Now I screwed the screws into the places marked with chalk. There were 6 of them, 2 on each side, and 2 standard bolts at the bottom. This is on one grille and also on the second grille.
О, все, красота. Примерно то же самое делаем с другой накладкой. Готово.
The second grid is less convenient to install because there are additional parts. In principle, it would have been possible to drill another screw, and then the installation would have been a little easier. But I decided to do without it. The second grid took a little longer to install because there's a pin at the bottom that interferes with the installation.
Начинайте ставить с этой, чтобы потренироваться. Эту ставить сложнее. Тихенько туда. Не спешите, главное, не суетитесь. Потихоньку идет.
After fixing the grid, I install all the parts in place. Here I had an assistant, or rather an inspector. This is what the already installed grid looks like. The clamps for fastening the lower part are not visible at all, and the upper one looks perfect. Only if you go down can you see the clamps on the lower grid. Subscribe to the channel.